Hi, I'm Matt Snyder. I'm a student physical therapist assistant. I'm going to demonstrate passive range of motion today of the hand, wrist, and elbow. First thing you want to do is introduce yourself to the patient and let them know what you're about to do. Hi, Mr. Hurst. I'm Matt Snyder, student physical therapist assistant. I'm going to be doing passive range of motion on your hand, wrist, and elbow today, okay?
Okay.
Then we want to make sure the patient's comfortable, so we're going to put a bolster underneath her legs to give her better support. Slide underneath your legs. And then we want to drape the patient for coverage and make sure they're comfortable. Is it right if I put this sheet over you? Okay, first thing we're going to do is we're going to work on her hand. And we're going to do finger flexion to start off. So we're going to go down into a fist for finger flexion and back up for finger extension. So finger flexion and finger extension. We'll only do a few repetitions a day just for time's sake, but otherwise you want to do more than that. Okay, so after finger flexion extension, we're going to go finger abduction and adduction. Abduction going out, adduction going in. Abduction, adduction, abduction, adduction. Then we're going to do the same thing for the thumb. We're going to do thumb abduction, adduction, abduction, adduction. Then thumb flexion and extension, flexion and extension. Then we're going to turn the palm so you can kind of see it. We're going to do metacarpal head elevation and depression. So here are the metacarpal heads. We're going to elevate and depress each one of those, just like that. You can kind of see the heads moving up and down there for elevation and depression. Okay. We're also going to do thumb opposition. So we're going to take the thumb and we're going to go to the opposite finger, the opposite fingertip actually. Then we're going to bring the hand back out to the starting position. So thumb opposition. This is thumb opposition. Okay. And after that, that concludes the passive range of motion of the hand. Now we're going to do the wrist. We're going to start off with wrist flexion, and then we're going to bring it back for wrist extension. Wrist flexion, wrist extension, wrist flexion, and wrist extension. Then we're going to do ulnar deviation on the pinky side, radial deviation on the thumb side. We're going to support the hand. We're going to go out to the pinky side, ulnar deviation, radial deviation, ulnar deviation, radial deviation, ulnar deviation, radial deviation. And that concludes the passive range of motion exercises of the wrist. Now we're going to do the elbow. We're going to turn her palm till her palm is facing her head. We're going to support the elbow, and then we're going to take her hand down to her shoulder for elbow flexion, bring it back out for elbow extension. So elbow flexion, and then elbow extension. Elbow flexion, and then elbow extension. And then we're going to do pronation and supination forearm. So what we're going to do is, we're already in supination right there. We're going to support the hand and the wrist, and we're going to rotate to pronation and then supination. And you can kind of see her forearm rotating from the elbow to the hand. Supination, pronation, supination, pronation. So that concludes the passive range of motion exercises for the hand, the wrist, and the elbow. Renata's going to demonstrate passive range of motion of the shoulder.
Hi, I'm Renata, and I'm a student physical therapist assistant, and I'm going to demonstrate passive range of motion for the shoulder. The first thing that you'd want to do is introduce yourself to the patient. Hi, Mr. Snyder, I'm Renata, and I'm a student physical therapist assistant, and I'll be working with you on your shoulder today.
Okay.
The next thing that you'd want to do is drape the patient. I'm going to do a couple exercises on your shoulder. Is that okay?
All right.
All right. The first motion would be extension and flexion of the shoulder. First motion is flexion above the head. And then down towards the body is extension. Back up is flexion. Make sure there's nothing in the way so you can get full range of motion. Flexion, extension. The next one I'm going to show you is abduction and adduction of the shoulder. For abduction, make sure the palm is facing up, and then you're going to move the arm away from the body. This is abduction. adduction, move it towards the body. Abduction and adduction. The next one I'm going to show you is internal and external rotation of the shoulder. Just want to make sure that you support the elbow. And then internal rotation, external rotation, internal rotation, external rotation. The next one I'm going to show you is horizontal abduction and adduction of the shoulder. For abduction, you're going across the chest. Adduction, abduction, adduction, abduction. And that's all the motions for the shoulder. This concludes our video for the shoulder, the elbow, hand, and the wrist.